Hey everybody, I wanted to share a little more. I was reading a comment from the last video that I posted, and it was Kendra who asked if my if my biological family, if they have bunnies, and and it reminded me of something that happened to me when I was in college. I went to Kutztown University, and we used to play basketball on Saturday mornings. And we were playing basketball, and somebody on my team shot the ball, and I ran in and grabbed it off the rim and dunked it. And like the whole other team was under there, and everybody in the gym was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa!" And there was one guy, I think his name was Will, was like, that's a great memory. You'll always have it, but it doesn't count because that was basket interference, and it didn't count. The crazy thing about that is a year before, went to Coatesville High School, and we were at basketball practice, and we were running the layup lines, and I had never dunked before, and ever, on a 10-foot court. And so we're at practice, and everybody in the layup lines is trying to dunk, and I'm trying just like everybody else. And one of my teammates, Andre Boggs, says to me, "Raj, you can dunk, dude. You're just taking off too early. Like, you got to jump from further away." And so I tried it. I jumped from further away, and I almost dunked. And then we're going through the lines. It's my turn again, and I get the ball, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take off from a little further away. So now I take off from further away, and I dunk, and everybody was hyped for me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just dunked on a 10-foot court, right? I'm 5'11", so I can't believe I just dunked 5'11 and a half. And I can't believe I just dunked on a 10-foot court. And so the next day we're running a 3-man weave at practice, and the 3-man weave, at the end of it, you either lay it up or dunk it in. And at the end of the 3-man weave, I just dunked it. It was really easy. And I remember Uga looking at me like, dude, are you just dunking everything now? And from that moment forward, I could literally dunk with ease, super easy, like drop step from anywhere. Like that first time I had to take off from further away. Now it's like I could be right next to the rim and I could just dunk. And I appreciate that, Andre. I think I've told you that, but if you're watching this, I appreciate that because it helped me more than with just basketball, but just life in general. And hopefully you get this when I explain it. Once I believed that I could do it whenever I wanted to. And I've dunked on plenty of people that were taller than me. And it changed the belief in myself. When we're talking basketball, but it changed the belief in myself. Because there was more in me than I could recognize. And Andre recognized it, and I didn't. And so belief in yourself matters. And as an adopted kid, I had this belief that I was thrown away. And when you have a belief that you're thrown away, man, can you imagine how you feel about yourself? And so it wasn't until some years later that I began to recognize I wasn't thrown away, but I was handed over. That's different, and I hope that maybe I could be your Andre Boggs, and I could help you recognize that you weren't thrown away, but you were handed over. You got to think, and what I began to do, I began to think from this perspective, is that my biological parents, my mother, she could have aborted me, and she didn't, but she carried me for 9 months. So morning sickness, cravings, body changes, doctor's appointments. And mind you, my biological father is going through all this with her. She might want pancakes from whatever restaurant at 10 at night, or want cookies and cream ice cream that you don't have in the freezer at 3 in the morning. So, you're like, these are different things that you go through, as you carry a child, as you bring a person into the world. And so then you don't know what time you're going to be born. So it could be 3 a.m. and your water breaks, and now you're headed to the hospital, and you get to the hospital, and then they send you in the room to give birth, and now you're going through that pain. And now this kid that you've been carrying for 9 months, you hand them over. Like, that takes love. Like, you don't know your biological parents' situation, but they love you enough to hand you over to give you a better life. They recognize that maybe they didn't have the finances, or maybe they didn't have the proper situation to raise you, but they could have aborted you and they didn't. But they handed you over. And they handed you over to a family that wants to love you, that wants to be there for you, that wants to help raise you and to help you shape your life. Like I said on my last video, my family was very loving. My sisters are super loving. And when I was young, the thing that rang in my head was that I was thrown away, instead of recognizing that I was handed over. And can you imagine if you can get that perspective at an early age? Like, I can't say that I would have been dunking if I would have had that belief in myself before Andre helped me see it. But after I saw it, I took off. And I hope that hearing this, that you're not thrown away, but you're handed over, and you're handed over to love, that hopefully it changes your perspective. That hopefully that helps you see that that you do have value, and that there is something that somebody else saw in you that they wanted to accept you in. Man, it can help you take off. It can help you fly. It can help you don't.